Welcome to Cannonball Day 6. Woke up this morning thinking it was actually not going to be a bad day. Turned out it was a almost 12-hour day. Picture there, sign of things to come. Leaving Miami, Oklahoma, heading into Arkansas. Decline in altitude. Many stops. First stop was, of course, a tobacco store. So woke up at dawn again. Missed breakfast. Otherwise feeling pretty good. Passing Dave's truck there. You can see my green Stella on the back as we headed out. Weather was pretty good. It was warm but not hot, or it was hot but not as hot as it was days previous. So overall, the first leg, nice. Did not stop in the tobacco store. It was kind of, you could tell it was Native American lands. A lot of like Seneca, Wyandotte, Cherokee. Then we crossed over from Oklahoma into Missouri on a way to get to the Lanigan post office. So heading to a church after this. It was nice riding. It was wooded. A lot of turns, which was good. Yeah, so one of these roads. Oh, there's the church. So from here we left Missouri and headed into northern Arkansas. One of these roads is probably where Micah hit a deer. As I watched the video, I left my camera on for a couple hours, so there's a lot of these twisties through the woods, and I remember Micah saying that's where he was popping out and hit his deer, but more on that later. So we're on our way to Snake World, which was definitely hyped just as an interesting thing to see compared to abandoned post offices and churches, but wasn't really anything to write home about. And by nothing to write home about, I mean there was absolutely nothing there in that we didn't go in, didn't really see it. It was tucked away from the road. Roll away the dew. So Lou didn't turn on his camera much today. Oh yeah, so plenty of there's Snake World. There's me posing in front of Snake World. And then we're off to Anderson's convenience store. So there were 3 separate dirt roads. So this place, I think, was a gas station that didn't have gas. And I bought some kind of mystery meat that a woman made at home that she had put in a biscuit and sold at the counter. Not a good idea. This was the second section that we were on. So really couldn't get above probably 25, maybe 30, but you could tell that it was both bumpy and not too stable. In fact, at one of these points, I ran into the back of Lou when I thought he was going to stop shortly, but he was stopping immediately. Wild Bill's Outfitter, we stayed there for a little bit. This was a nice stop. Good break. I do remember taking some time, and you can see how we have the covers off our scooter. So this is like the third stretch of dirt and or gravel road. I remember at night everybody talking about how much off-roading they had to do when nobody was expecting it.
One watch by day. If you get confused, listen to the music play.
So heading through the Ozarks, one of these, we were kind of by Eureka Springs. I don't know if this was here or earlier. I believe this was D&L Discount Store. This is one of the few times Lou turned on his camera, so I think I mentioned in an earlier video, anytime we got to a town is typically when we'd have the camera on. See, the weather was good, and we definitely lucked out. So this, I think, is our fourth stretch of dirt road. Either Lou and I were really good at navigating. I mean, I think we'd done a lot of prep work to get the routes in, but I do recall thinking, where the hell are we, and are we in the wrong place? So seeing another scooter rider was very good. The bad part, though, is rather than turning, we ended up going straight to continue on what I could only assume was a long driveway of some sort that is sort of... So, I mentioned earlier, I had left my camera on for like an hour and a half. This was some of the footage I otherwise would have not have recorded, but it does tell you just, I mean, again, this is the same road over probably 15 or 20 minutes with driveways off of it. So I can't imagine when it rains, this is very good to go through. So this is a momentous occasion, probably the only time we passed a four-wheeled vehicle in 8 days. And again, it was always nice to see other riders, especially when you were in God knows where, Missouri or Arkansas. So finally back on a road, which was good. This guy must have had 2 flats for us to be passing him. Not a full stop by Lou. One of those signs says we're on our way to Cave City. City, so it was probably like everything else, just kind of backcountry USA. So these were never good roads to be on. I guess the fact that it was 5 lanes is better than 2 or 3, but definitely more of a highway feel. The scooter was up, that meant everything was okay. So now we're coming upon the Smithville United Methodist Church. I could tell you we spent about 15 minutes here because I left the camera on the whole time. I think this is where we met Brooks's wife and kids. They were waiting for him. And because we were on a 2-stroke, she thought we might have been him, but he was, I think, a pretty good ways behind. Oh, and watching the video with sound, this at some point it became too difficult to shift into first, so I ended up having to start pretty much from here on out in second, which was fine. So I do remember at this point, because we're probably over 10 hours in our day, thinking this was long and somewhat miserable, because even though there were, it was wooded, the Ozarks were nice, it was really rural throughout the whole state. And people would always ask us what we're doing and everything. And I do remember coming up at this next stop, I wrote in my notes that I was really not liking Arkansas. And then a guy at this restaurant said, what are you guys doing? And we told him, and he's like, what do you think of Arkansas? And he was super excited. I'm like, oh, it's great. I love it. Which then made me think it was pretty nice, or at least not as bad as it, I was feeling at that point. It was just because it was a long day. So finally made it to the Comfort Inn. Like I said, almost 12 hours. We swapped out a tire. We replaced my clutch cable. Won't explain that picture. I only brought 2 pairs of pants on the trip, so by now they were covered in grease. This was waiting for Micah to get in. There's Micah's scooter after hitting the deer. There's some deer fur in the scooter. There's my scooter with the tire. And there's us having completed the day in just under 12 hours. All right, on to day 7.